Oh, just kidding.
We are live!
Yay! Hello, everybody.
So, even though I'm the one controlling all the technology, our host
I'm.
is over
I.
here.
Yes.
I can never tell where my fingers point. There we
You're
go.
pointing. You're right. You're right.
So,
Okay. Well, I'm Sharon Stogner from I Smell Sheep, and we are going to interview Steve DeWinter about his writing and other personal things he'd probably rather not talk about, but
but
we'll
we're
try.
here.
So can you tell us about? I guess let's talk about your latest book you have out. A is for Apprentice.
Yes, A is for Apprentice.
Yes. What audience is this for? And is it a standalone? And
Well, you can tell by the title. Well, we'll answer your second question first. The title, A is for Apprentice.
I thought there might be a B.
That lets us know that there is going to be 25 more books in this series before this series is done.
You're kidding.
Probably take about a couple decades.
Oh, what's Z gonna be?
Yeah, because each one is going to be a full-length novel,
Wow.
80, 90, 100. This one clocked in at like 100-something thousand words. So each one's going to be a full-length novel. And so, A is for Apprentice. B is for Bewitched is the next one that I'm working on.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Continuing
That's a massive project.
Huh?
That's a massive project.
That is, and it's going to be, it's going to take me 20 years. I got the idea from Sue Grafton.
I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
A is for Alibi.
Yeah.
And she just put out this past year X.
Oh, wow. She's getting down to the end there.
Almost done. I think she's doing one every 2 years now. She was doing one a year for a while.
Wow.
So this is my long-term project, and I'll still be doing other books in between these.
Right.
But this is my long-term project.
Wow.
So if anybody out there says, I'll wait until all the books are out before I read the series, don't do that now.
Don't do that.
Don't do that with this one.
Well, what's it about?
So A is for Apprentice. I like to call it a magical thriller. Mm-hmm. So some of my favorite books to read are thriller novels. But I didn't want to deal with the current modern socio-political economic world that we live in now. I also like Harry Potter and all the fantasy novels that are out there too. So I decided to marry those two, and I did A is for Apprentice. So we have our 18-year-old Van. His name is Van, and he loses his father when he was young. When he's 13 years old, loses his father. They end up having to move to the middle of the direct center of the United States.
Okay.
So, it is like the desolate, driest place you've ever been. The oceans are at the furthest distance in any direction to anywhere. And there's a big reason for why they moved the farthest away from large bodies of water as humanly possible.
Right.
And that plays in quite a bit into it. So we find out early on in the story that he has magical ability.
Mm-hmm.
And he can spin an element.
Water?
Uh-huh. And so because of what happened with his father, which happens in the opening chapter, his father sacrifices himself to close a gate that opens every 7 years that the bad guy's trying to get through.
Right.
Well, killing yourself is bad news. So, banished, the whole family line banished. Van is never going to be given the chance to become an apprentice, to learn how to spin his element.
Right.
And he ends up getting moved to the farthest place from water he could possibly get.
Right.
So, because of that, we have some people.
People?
Nope, yep. That's one of my Roblox video game fans. We do, my son and I do video gaming, so most of the people on the chat over here are probably going to be from Roblox.
Okay.
The video game that we do. So those are all the big audience there. But hopefully we'll get some people from your blog in here asking some questions.
Hopefully.
Today I'm an author, not a video game player. So he finds out, and then things happen that ends up getting him over to the magical realm.
Right. Okay.
And he ends up finding out that he can do this magic but he's not allowed to even practice it because of what happened with his father.
Right.
So, and it is a page-turner thriller
Okay.
with magic and the whole fantasy realm.
Are there secondary characters that are going to stick with him throughout the series?
Yes. Or? So this first one lays down the groundwork to build up who our main character is and who his witty, fun sidekick is, Eddie. And then his mentor, who will come and go as I sit there and, do things with it. For his mentor, I've got all the standard characters. He builds up his team. We've got the kick-ass female assassin who has been around for quite a long time. And she has other goals that she's doing, but she's now joining into his team. So he'll have a core team that he has, and then people will come and go as the series progresses based upon the story that happens with each book.
Right.
I've got all 26 titles already written down.
Wow. Well, that's impressive.
Yeah. And I went and I licensed all 26 burning iron letters.
Oh.
So the covers will be all the same, just like you see right here.
Mm-hmm.
So the covers will be consistent. I've already licensed all 26 letters. That was a challenge. Each site where you can license artwork only had so many of the letters. I had to go to several places to get all 26 now. I didn't want them to disappear and be gone.
That's true.
And
Oh, no, I was going.
And I'm the kind of writer where I like to know the title of my book before I write the story. I can't write a story unless I know the title. The title's the first thing I do.
Oh.
So it helps that I've got 26 titles.
Have you ever not been able to come up with a title easily?
No, I actually have a tiny little book filled with titles.
I know somebody else who does that, just in case. Well, so what can you tell us about the magic system involved in this series?
So, all right. So before I talk about the magic system, let me talk about the history of how I named it. Because here is my challenge. We now live in a world today where scarcity is no longer an issue. We no longer have one fantasy series that we read or one sci-fi series we watch on TV. There's no one system that we have. We now have access. We have our phone. We have fingertip access to anything in the universe that has ever been.
Right.
Which reminds me, I should turn the ringer off on that. There we go. So, so I sat down and said, all right, I want to come up with a magic system. What do I call it that fulfills two things?
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been used before, either much or so barely that people really don't use it, and has been used so long ago that we go, of course! And so, because, I didn't want to call my people wizards.
Right.
Harry Potter's got that totally nailed down in the most recent thing. Harry Potter, anytime you say wizard, we think Harry Potter. So I'm like, I can't call him a wizard. I didn't want to call him a magician. I didn't want to call him, all the standard names. So I'm like, so that was my first challenge was, what do I call the people who can perform magic?
Right.
Who have innate magic ability. And so I sat down and says, all right, well, let's look at some of the old fairy tales and stuff that goes back hundreds of years for inspiration. And I finally found it, which is interesting because I found it through another non-magical way, a totally scientific way. So when I was looking at how they do their magic, my first thought was, I know I've seen this a lot.
Avatar,
and a lot of other stuff, New Potion and all that kind of stuff. And so I thought about this, and it says, well, one of the things that you do is you have you spin your hands around, you rotate them around, and I'm like, oh, spinning, that might work. They could call it, where they're spinning up the magic.
Right.
And so I says, well, is there anything to support this concept that I have? I can call it spinning, But what is there to support it? So I started researching, and I found out that spinning a long time ago was considered a very magical thing. You take loose cotton and everything and you spin it into thread. Mm-hmm. And when you take a look at, Sleeping Beauty, the spindle, where she pricked her finger on the spindle, because spinning had magical properties back then. And then when I finally found the one thing, Rumpelstiltskin, when he turned straw into gold, he spun it. So Rumpelstiltskin was the very first spinner.
There you go.
And so I sat down to say, well, is there anything else that could help support that? And I found that in the scientific community. So I may get the technology completely wrong on some of this, but in the MRI, magnetoresonance imaging, that big round thing that people go into the tube and they're just like claustrophobic, and this big round thing around you, what they're doing is they're shooting something and then it reflects back at a certain angle so they can get the image of it.
Right.
Well, that angle is called the magic spin angle. I'm not making this up.
That's cool.
This exists in the scientific community. There's a specific angle that they call the magic spin angle that enables them to get the clearest image possible for the MRI. And so I sat down, and you know what? I've got a tiny picture here. Let me really quick add in a picture, because when I sat down to say, well, that is so incredibly cool.
Yeah.
And I should have been ready with this one. Haha. All right. There it is. Wizard Order crest. So we'll bring up the fire one.
Oh.
It's in black. Let me get a better one that's in white. Let's see. I don't have one in white, so I will just bring up this guy here in red. Mm-hmm. And I'll cover up the live chat temporarily. So when I sat down to say, well, I needed something for this group of people to belong to for the magic thing. So I came up with a group called the Wizard's Order. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been used before. Again, I have everything that's ever been done accessible to me, so I can look. Now, there's been the Order of the Wizard. People have used that a lot, but nobody's used Wizard's Order.
Okay.
So I sat down and says, well, I want to make an emblem that they wear that designates them as, I'm in the Wizard's Order. Right. So I went and I made this W in the shape of an O. So you can see it's a W.
Right.
Yeah, in the shape of an O. And this spot right here.
The magic angle?
That is the actual dimension. That is the exact degrees for the magic angle.
Oh, how fun.
So there it is. The magic angle.
Nobody will know this.
I couldn't believe it. You can't make this stuff up. So I love being able to pull up something that's in the real world and bring it into the fiction that I write. It makes it more real for me.
How long did this process take when you said, this is what I want to do? All the research.
I'm a fast researcher. I spent, back when the internet was, I spent $14 a year to have an email address when none of my friends knew what email was. I mean, I stomped around on the internet before there was web pages.
Right.
So basically I was stomping around government sites.
Billboards.
Exactly. I was stomping around government sites and libraries for education.edu and .gov was pretty much my only choice.
Right.
And then when the internet started coming out and the .com started coming around, I did a lot of stomping around on the internet in the early days, just researching and finding out what's out there, and enabled me to get really fast with my research. So this whole process here probably took me about a month to solidify it down.
Right.
It took me probably about 3 days to come up with the idea, because that's all I did for 24 hours. I didn't sleep. I laid in bed. What do I call them? What is their magic ability? I don't want to call them wizards. I don't want to call them warlocks. I don't want to call them a name that's been used
Right.
so much. You know, that's one of the problems with no longer living in a scarce world is everything's been done.
True.
And I need to come up with something new.
Yeah, sounds like you did.
And I did. I was so pleased. And something that not only is it new, but it's immediately recognizable as something that's been around for a long time.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, your main character's name is
Van.
So what would you say is his biggest weakness right now at the beginning?
His biggest weakness is he does not know how to use his magic. And the magic is, even though it's an innate in those that can do it, they start their training at 13 years of age. Right. And so basically when they, hit 13, they bring them over from the real world here, what I call Tech Realm. They bring them over to Midgard. And Midgard, spelled a little differently than the Midgard from Norse mythology. Right. Where Midgard is basically a realm that exists between Tech Realm, which is our world, and Mage Realm, which is a full magic world. And Midgard is the in-between. Okay. Because magic and technology cannot coexist peaceably. And so Midgard is stuck in a medieval level of technology. They've got the wheel, they've got push carts, they've got 12th to 14th century technology, but it cannot go beyond that because they do have magic and practice it pretty steadily to protect themselves from Mage Realm, which is trying to come over and take over. So they need to maintain some magic, but the magic is also a low-level magic. So it's a safe environment for somebody to come in. So Van, his biggest weakness is he doesn't know how to use his magic. He's now 18 years old. He should have been trained since he was 13, but because of his father's sacrifice, he was banned. So the very organization, the Wizard's Order, that was built to bring in people like Van to train them, has banned him from ever being trained. Mm-hmm. Banned him from ever being an apprentice.
Oh, he's a rogue.
So, not necessarily a rogue. We do have somebody else. His mentor is the rogue. His mentor was the apprentice for his father. And because of his father's sacrifice, Halen is his name, he gets booted out of the Wizard's Order and his crest tarnished. So that little crest I showed you as a silver emblem, it gets tarnished, which suppresses his magical ability. So he becomes the rogue to train Van anyway.
Right.
And the reason he wants to train him is the magic, if you don't learn to control it, it will consume you. So kind of like a little bit like the dark side.
Right.
In Star Wars, where it's not necessarily there's a good magic and a bad magic. It's learn to control the magic or the magic will control you.
That makes sense.
And the magic does whatever it wants. There is no good and evil. If you have absolute power, you just do what you want.
Right.
And so Van has to learn how to control this. He's 5 years behind, and the magic's getting stronger within him, and it will take him over.
Right.
Now, having lived out the last 5 years in Tech Realm, it suppressed the magic so much that he really didn't know.
Okay.
And wouldn't have been a problem if he stayed in Tech Realm, but for reasons that become known in the book, he ends up in Midgard.
Right. Okay. All right. You also write children's books, right?
I do. I have a very popular series that I did that was inspired by Minecraft. My son, he's 10 now, and he was just huge super fan of Minecraft. And so I sat down and I started writing stories for him, and then I said, well, let's publish them on Kindle and and make the paperbacks for him. Here's a few of them.
Oh, those are awesome covers.
For that, so and it starts with Herobrine Rises. Uh-huh. And if you're a player of Minecraft, there is a character that has become a meme that's not in the original Minecraft,
right? But
has become a meme of it's an AI character that's as smart as a human and can build and destroy. Which the AI in Minecraft, they can't do it. Only players can do that. So, and everyone always says, they always show pictures of him and he looks just like a player character, but his eyes glow.
Right.
So, of course, me being the thriller writer I am, I said, Herbert Rises, he's done watching.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that was a lot of fun to do that. And then I also, licensed with another online game company, which we'll see a lot of the people here who are on my chat over here are Roblox fans. I also have a series of 6 books I wrote that I licensed with Roblox.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, the license has expired and these books are no longer in print. So sad. So sad. And that's the reality of the publishing world, especially when you're doing licensing.
Right.
Is, the license is not forever.
Oh,
So I like writing my own books. A is for Apprentice is forever.
Well, have you received any fan mail from kids?
Oh, yes. I've received a ton of fan mail. I sat down and I started writing fiction. And I said, this would be great. I like to entertain people. It's what I want to do. It's what my life gives my life meaning and purpose, is to entertain people. What I forgot was how much stories touch us at our very soul.
Right.
I had forgotten that. Yeah, I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of writing. And so, I started putting out the Minecraft series, and I started getting fan mail from kids, parents, teachers, and librarians.
Aww.
My Minecraft series, starting with Herobrine Rises, got the boys who were reluctant to even attempt to read, excited about reading, and begging their teacher to get the next book.
Aww.
So they could keep reading. Oh, there's my cat in the background.
I gotta say, your cat's trying to get away.
Hi, Sil. She's trying to escape. Let's grab her. Hi. There we go. We're live on the internet, and here is a cat on YouTube. Go figure.
That's true.
There's no cats on YouTube. This is a first. This is a first.
Oh, that's cool.
So, but yeah, so I got lots of fan mail, especially from, the Minecraft and Roblox. They loved them, and it made them want to read. And I hope made them readers for life.
Right.
That is what I love, and so I'm grooming them to become readers for my adult fiction, my thrillers, and my other stuff that I have.
You gotta have a step up. You gotta have your young adult and then your adult.
And then I also sat down to write in different genres and different age groups so that I wouldn't get myself pigeonholed.
Right.
We sit there and we I've met a few authors where they're like, yeah, I write thrillers. I'd love to write something else, but everybody knows me as a thriller writer. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, I'll hide out in my cave for the first 10 years of my writing career and put out 40 plus books in all different things so that there's no way I can get pigeonholed.
There you go.
Now, the reverse of that is, because I don't have 40 books all in the same series or in the same specific genre, I haven't built up an audience. My audience is fractured all over the place.
Fractured all over us. All right. Okay, well, we'll ask you a couple of questions that don't have anything to do with what you do, but might be interesting. Have you ever read a romance novel?
I did. Do I even have it over here? Do I still have it? Yes.
You still have it?
Hummingbird.
Oh my God, how old is that?
That is from the 80s. It is so old, it just starts right away. You know how most books have all that front matter. You get like 12 pages of stuff that you go through. Uh-huh. You open up this book, and it says Hummingbird, Chapter 1. So I don't even really know when it came out because it doesn't have all that stuff that tells you. And
so
then
nothing
it ends.
Recent.
Somebody wrote up here in the corner 1983 in hand. So I don't know.
Well, it's changed a lot.
Huh?
It's changed a lot since then.
Yes. So romance has changed. This is pre-Bodice Ripper era, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then I've read a few books from Marie Force. And she's a new, probably about the last 5 years, has really exploded and become a very popular romance author.
Oh, okay.
And she's also worked really hard to keep herself from being pigeonholed for just romance. She also does romantic suspense and everything with the same characters. Which the publishers told her, well, you can't do that. You can't do like a heart-to-heart. Well, this is going back in really old television stuff. Or Cagney and Lacey. You can't do something like that in a romance writing thing. They want different characters for each book. And she says, I don't want to do that. So she did it herself, became very popular with it. And now they're saying, oh, okay, yeah, you can do that.
Okay, sure.
Now,
Okay,
I mostly read...
What state do you live in?
I live in California.
California.
I'd like to say sunny California, but we just now have the storm of the century descending down upon us. For the next week, it's supposed to be raining solid straight.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm in North Carolina, and it was like in the 60s, and then we're getting snow tonight. So,
oh, wow. Yeah, it's still nice and, it's not too cold right now. So it's pretty nice out.
Okay, let's get on to the nerdiest thing you own.
The nerdiest thing I own. So you gave me a warning for this, so I was able to pull it down from the shelf. This guy is heavy. I have got a Lego minifig that's not too many.
Not too many.
A macrofig built out of Legos. Now, I didn't design this. This was a kit that my friend got directly from Lego online.
Right.
And everything. And so we sat down. It took us a couple hours to build this, building one leg at a time. And
right. Has it got a name?
So this nerdy thing I know. And then, of course, I seal. And then, of course, you can see my robots behind me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there you go.
I've got 2 of the Velociraptor Robo Sapien Velociraptors and one of the quad. And then I've got the original one that was a dancing robot.
I've got Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. Transformers level 3.
There we go. We'll have it swoop in.
There you go. I got the Millennium Falcon, so.
I'm a Star Trek guy over Star Wars.
Oh, well, there's something. Star Trek over Star Wars.
Star Trek over Star Wars. Probably because it was first for me. It's just what I was watching all growing up.
Well, see, I saw Star Wars when it came out, when it first released. So I saw that before I saw anything else. Okay, out of curiosity, what is your computer or your phone save screen and lock screen?
Oh, well, let's see.
That'll say something about you.
Yeah, this would. So my lock screen has absolutely nothing on it.
Oh.
And my background is just a little gridded triangle background.
Oh, how boring.
Yeah. I am, when it comes to my workspace and my computer background, all right, let's go ahead and show. Here is my work computer that I work on. Usually I don't have this many icons, but it's a blank background.
Oh my gosh, that's
no
so sad.
No pictures of my child? What's wrong with me?
You gotta get. See?
Okay, and then my iPad.
On this.
All right, lock screen for the iPad. Nothing.
Oh.
The background? Just a basic utilitarian, the little circle dot things. No pictures.
Wow.
When it comes to my workspace, I like to have nothing. I mean, growing up, all the models that I built and put together, no decals, no paint.
Wow, okay.
I would build the model, and whatever plastic color that it came in naturally, because they expected you to just paint it,
right,
was how it was. I don't decorate anything.
I'm sure there's a name for that.
And then my walls around me, there are no pictures.
What?
You know?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well.
Oh my goodness.
That question bomb. Okay, we're gonna play Date, Marry, Kill with Disney princesses.
Oh, okay. So date, marry, kill. Which one I would want to date, who I'd want to marry, and who I'd kill.
Right.
All right, I'm ready.
Tell me.
Oh!
You gotta tell me!
Oh, I thought you were going to throw out a name like Pocahontas. Would you date, marry, or kill her? Okay.
Okay. All right, Ariel.
Ariel? Date.
Date.
It's a fish out of water story. Yeah. I don't know how lasting that could be, you know? I sit there and I watched a Australian show where the girls were mermaids and they couldn't get wet, they couldn't shower,
H2O?
They couldn't bathe. It's horrible.
H2O.
Yes.
I got a young daughter.
Love kid shows. Even though I have a kid, he's my excuse. Oh, my son was watching it. I was just watching it with him.
Yeah.
I think I'd watch it if it was just me.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, I was going to ask if you had any posters on your wall growing up, but I don't think you did.
Let's see. You know what? I have a whole bunch of posters still in the packages, not because I'm a collector, but because I just don't decorate, that I wanted to put up, that I never did, and it's all Jackie Chan movies. I love Jackie Chan.
You love Jackie Chan.
So
okay.
I've got, what do I have? I have Super Cop. I've got Armor of God 2. I've got one other one of his, and then, a couple other posters and things that are really cool fantasy artwork and stuff like that,
right,
that I just never put up because I'm just not a decorator. But I've got them because I wanted them.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so no Cure posters up on my wall growing up in the 80s. I grew up in the perfect time for like the wall of posters.
Yes, I had Kiss.
Ah, yes.
Kiss over 2 walls in the ceiling, covered in Kiss posters. So, okay. Did you have a favorite Saturday morning cartoon?
It was the Looney Tunes.
The Looney Tunes?
The Looney Tunes. That was, and I went and I picked up every collection that, as they came out on DVD, I picked them up, knowing that I wouldn't be able to continue to get them when I finally had a child. And I've just now started showing my son, Josh, Looney Tunes, because now I've got a whole bunch of them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That was my favorite Saturday morning cartoon, but it didn't... Okay. All right, so this is the mid-'70s. There are no VCRs.
No.
There was no way to record anything. Everything that we saw on television was because it was on.
We had to wait.
Right then. Right there.
I know.
So I sat down with my cassette recorder and I would record the audio from all the Looney Tunes. Most specifically, anytime I saw the Roadrunner come on, I would record all the Roadrunners. And then I would sit and I would listen to those.
Oh.
In the afternoon, during the week, and I could picture in my head the anvil landing on him as he falls, and then poof of cloud, And so I would record the sound, and then I would play that, and in my head, redo the visuals. So I had a VCR before there were VCRs.
I think that has to do with being an author.
That was probably part of the thing that helped push me towards being an author.
Yeah.
I do have actually the one defining event that did that. But before we get to that one, when you asked about my favorite Saturday morning cartoon, ask me another again. What was my favorite cartoon? The one that would make me run home from school gasping for breath so that I didn't miss it.
What was it?
Robotech.
Robotech?
I managed to record, when I finally got a VCR, all but 3 episodes of that.
Can't you find them online?
It was 3 seasons, and there was like 20-something episodes per season. I filled up 8 videotapes at their slowest speed. And this was all over-the-air stuff. So I could see during the summer, reception was always really, really bad. No, it was really good during the summer.
Right.
But when the storms come in the winter, reception was bad.
Right.
And so I sit down and I could watch my tape that, recorded every day, and I could see crystal clear, and then it would go and it would slide to fuzzy, snowy, could barely make it out. My cat's tearing the place apart. Barely make it out to back to clear again. I could see the progression of time.
Right.
They since all came out on DVD, and I have them all.
Of course you do.
And I've shown them all to my son already.
All right. How about musicals and plays?
I love musicals.
Oh,
and that's probably one of the reasons why I love just about every animated Disney movie that came out, was because it's also a musical.
Mm-hmm.
The Music Man. That's my favorite.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So we've got pick a little, tuck a little, pick a little, cheep, 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 tackle like a pillow more. 76 trombones led the big parade.
Okay, let's see. Okay, what would you choose to be your last meal?
My last meal?
Mm-hmm.
Kraft macaroni and cheese. I know. Horrible, huh?
How sad.
Oh, man. That is just like... It's basic, it's simple, and it's delicious.
I had never had it up until I got married. And my husband liked it. And he made it. And I was like, okay.
You're like, cheese powder. Are you sure you want this?
Okay, well, what smell reminds you of your childhood home or growing up?
Oh, what smell reminds me? It would have to be a carpet smell. I spent a lot of time laying on the carpet, playing with my toys, playing with my Hot Wheels and my Legos. And I would sit there and I would set up whole cities, and then I would have a car chase, a crash, a shootout. Spaceships would come in and attack, and I was always laying on the floor, playing all the time. So when I vision the family house, the second smell is, now I did not have a very big house. It was a normal house with a normal backyard, and by normal I mean you could probably throw a tennis ball and hit the opposite fence from one side to the next. It was so small. I had chickens, rabbits, ducks.
Oh my goodness.
Packed in a normal backyard. So I would say the smell of my animals.
So would bring back childhood memories.
Childhood memories is the smell of chicken poop.
Chicken poop. Oh. Mine's baked bread.
Oh, so much nicer. Whenever we go, there's a farm that we pass whenever there's a hiking area down where we live, and there's a big working farm there. And every time we pass the chicken coop, I go, home.
I wasn't expecting that answer. Okay, we're gonna do a little rapid fire.
Okay.
I'll give you this or that, and you can let me know.
All right.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Any particular mountains you prefer, or have you been to the East Coast to the Blue Ridge?
I have not been to the Blue Ridge
Mountains. Completely
Mountains.
Different experience.
Yeah, I went in New York where they have that big shelf type thing in New York that featured in one of my thriller novels.
Oh.
But I've only been there with Google Earth.
Oh.
Yes, I haven't been to that mountain. So most of the mountains I do are here, the Rocky Mountains that are, here, and the ones here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Snow and stuff.
Yeah, snow and stuff. Okay. Scuba diving or skydiving?
I would have to say scuba diving because I've done that. Well, I haven't done scuba diving. I've used a breather in a pool, but I mostly do snorkeling. But I would do that before I would jump from a plane.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Okay,
this one's important. This has big significance with our crowd. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Be careful before you answer.
You know what? I'm a Pepsi guy.
Yes.
Anytime, Here's my answer when I go to restaurants. And unfortunately, Coke is just a generic term we use.
Right.
You know? So when I sit in a restaurant and they go, what would you like? I'll go, I'll take a Coke. And they're like, we have Pepsi. I'm like, Pepsi is preferred.
Yep.
That's my response.
Pepsi's from North Carolina.
Oh, nice.
And I was born and raised in North Carolina, so it's
my
Pepsi.
first job was working in Burger King.
Working in what?
Burger King.
Oh, Burger King.
And it was, back then, now they have Coke in their fountain. But back then, in the late 80s, it was Pepsi.
Oh.
And it was awesome. So I worked over the broiler because they flame broil all this stuff. So it gets hot back there. So here is what my 10-minute break consisted of. We were allowed to have as much soda as we wanted as long as we brought our own cup.
Oh, hey.
So I brought the big 21-ounce plastic cup from amusement park. And I would go and I'm, after working over the frame broiler, putting together hamburgers, which became toys.
Right.
And I would go and I would fill that up with soda, Pepsi. Mm-hmm. And then I would walk into the walk-in freezer and stand in front of the blower and drink my Pepsi. That is the happiest time of my life. That is right up there, and the happiest times of your life. We always say, well, birth of my child, my wedding day. No. It's standing in the walk-in freezer with a 21-ounce of Pepsi, drinking it. That was awesome. You go.
Okay, well, Captain Malcolm Reynolds or James T. Kirk?
T. Kirk.
Saw that one coming.
Yep.
Okay, how about R2-D2 or BB-8?
Ooh. Wait, that's a tough one because, I've seen the new movie, so I've seen BB-8 in action. They certainly gave him a lot of character and everything. I'm going to have to say I kind of like the new BB-8.
Okay.
Yeah. Growing up, I always had the just off to the left of what everybody else had. Star Wars came out, we all got the little figures. Everybody had little R2-D2s. I had an R5-D4. He was a little orange guy. He had that one scene. He was the one that broke down that ended up getting Luke Skywalker getting the R2 unit instead.
Right.
So I had that guy. Everybody else had Atari. I had Intellivision. Everybody was getting Pong. I had this weird build-it-yourself kit that was like Pong. So I was just to the left of the rest of the universe.
Just to the left of everybody else. Okay. Sharktopus or Dino Shark?
Ooh, Sharktopus.
Sharktopus. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
My family, we live for the sci-fi Saturday night movies.
Oh man, Sharknado. Enough said.
I've got the pop figure, and I've got the Christmas ornament.
Oh, nice.
I like to collect Christmas ornaments that signify nerdish things. Okay, Godzilla or Cthulhu?
Godzilla.
Oh, yeah. All right. Dinner or supper?
Dinner or supper? Mm-hmm. Dinner. I'm dinner. West Coast. We don't have supper. We have dinner.
Yeah, dinner is lunch here, but we have supper. Okay, well, that's about all I have on my list. But I read on your website about your 99+ book club deal.
Yes.
And so I thought we'd
Well, thank you very much for bringing that up. I've had 0 takers on that.
So far.
And so basically it's utilizing the same technology that we are communicating. If you're not local to Silicon Valley, which is where I live, then we can utilize Zoom, which is what we're using right now to communicate. And
Right.
I can visit a book club anywhere. And I'm trying to hit 99 plus book clubs. We don't have to talk about A is for Apprentice. We can talk about the latest TV show we all watched that week.
Supernatural.
A lot of people, they get together for the book club. It's just an excuse to drink and chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of them don't even read the book of the month. So I know that. I'm an author. I'm there. But hey, I would love to just visit and chat and meet more people.
Right.
Especially reading type people. Those are my peeps.
Do you go to conventions?
I do. I go to conventions.
That's a great place.
I've been down to. I've been to like a few conventions here and there. The one I'm most seen at is Clockwork Alchemy, which is a steampunk convention.
Oh, I hadn't heard of that one.
Yeah, and it takes place in San Jose near the airport there. And I usually take my Steampunk Wizard of Oz series. I have 8 books in that series.
Oh,
So
neat.
we did The Wizard of Oz as a steampunk adventure. Made Dorothy a little more powerful because in the original Wizard of Oz story, she's just kind of drug along and whines about it.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's no good. That's not showing girls that they can take charge and do their thing. So I taught my Dorothy martial arts, and she basically, in typical thriller novel fashion, she's got to save the world.
Or Oz.
Exactly. So, well, in that one, Oz is, and again, I know we weren't here to talk about that one, but hey, why not? I love bringing in the real world to my fiction.
Right.
So I sat down. So I've got my Steampunk Oz
Oh, yeah.
here, starting with Forgotten Girl. And I've got 8 books in that series, a novella series. And I sat down and said, okay, I've seen the movie. We've all seen Over the Rainbow, 100 million times. It's on every Christmas. But if I'm going to sit down and do a steampunk retelling of this story, I should read the book.
Yeah.
So I went and I grabbed Frank L. Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the original.
Right.
And I read through it. And as I'm reading it, when Dorothy first lands in Oz, and she looks to the Munchkins and goes, well, I should be going now. Sorry to have smashed someone that you hated, but I should be going now. My family's going to be worried about me. How do I get out of here? And they looked at her perplexed and said, what do you mean get out? No one ever gets out. And my first thought was, it's a prison. And so when you take a look at the maps for the original thing, Oz is surrounded on all 4 sides by a huge desert.
Oh.
No one ever gets out. So when you're in Oz, you're stuck. And so I'm like, well, that whole concept of a prison, let's keep it that way. So let's make it a prison. So now I've got, and I want to make it steampunk. So I'm sticking myself between 1850 and early 1900s for that. There's your steampunk era, Queen Victoria era. And so my book ended up sticking around 1901. So yeah, technically that's the beginning of the Edwardian era, but that's fine. But when I sat down, it says, okay, 1901, there's a prison that's huge because I need a big land for Oz.
Right.
It can't be a tiny little prison with, 1,000 prisoners. It has to be huge land that she can cross across, that people all live. And it's the 1900s, turn of the century, 1901, big place that's a prison that's pretty much inescapable. And so I went and I researched, and Australia was a penal colony. It's huge.
Yep.
And Australians like to shorten everything. What do Australians call Australia?
Oz.
Yes, that they do. So there was Oz. And then, of course, me always like to put more realistic stuff to it. They called it the Outcast Zone, OZ.
Right.
And so they shortened Outcast Zone to Oz. As the informal name, the Outcast Zone. It was really the Australis Penal Colony. And I really liked doing that story. In fact, so much. And then I went and I took the 4 Wicked Witches, the Wicked Witch of the North, West, East, and South. I turned them into marshals.
Oh.
So rather than being witches, they're marshals over their region of the prison.
That's a good idea.
And then I had I got this from a sheriff supply company. I had them make, let's see if we can block out some of the light here. I had them make a Marshal Colony Oz.
Oh, that's neat.
So that is the star that Dorothy wears because she lands there. And the rule is, if you kill a marshal, guess what? You're the marshal.
You're a marshal.
Which makes the marshals very safe. Nobody wants to be the marshal.
Oh, that's cool. That's a great idea.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, with your book club thing, have you taken that to the schools?
I will be contacting the schools pretty soon.
Because I would, as a librarian, to have an author come in, the whole class, and it could be video.
Right, and I've contacted some school librarians for that, and they said, great idea, we'll tell someone. And then I hear nothing. It takes time. I just have to realize, the reason we have time is so that everything doesn't happen all at once. We couldn't handle it. I just have to know to be patient. Things will
and put it in writing.
Things will happen. So give me 1 second. Okay.
Put the cat out.
And then she'll be banging on the door again in about 5 minutes.
Of course. Okay, well that's all I have for now. But I appreciate you taking the time to come talk.
Hey, thank you very, very much for letting me come on here and for being brave enough to accept my challenge to do it live.
Yeah, yeah. But okay, well, if anybody wants to find your books, links and all, on my website on I Smell Sheep, it's up there with all your links. It should be, and some book covers. And then I've got links to your website, your YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter, and all that sort of thing.
Right. Looking to see if there's any questions here. Nope, these are all my Roblox fans. And my cat's name is Sil. S-I-L. So to answer one of the questions, to prove that this was live and was actually happening, I will answer a question that came up here live. Somebody said, what is the name of your cat? It's Sil. S-Y-L. But yeah, thank you so very much, Sharon, for being brave enough to do this live Q&A and bring this to your blog. This set your blog apart from all the other blogs out there.
Yay!
You guys are the trendsetters.
Yeah, well, that we are.
In 5 years, this will be...
With a name like I Smell Sheep.
Yep. Yep, there's your logo right there. I Smell Sheep.
People remember us.
All right, so being live, we don't have a normal wind down way, so.
Oh, you don't have any music or anything?
No. Rhymes with T, and that stands for we got trouble right here in River City.
Exactly.
Music Man.
All right.
For that, so are there any other questions you have for me?
No, I asked all the ones that I had.
Asked all the ones. You know what? For those who are watching this, I mentioned we would come back to it, so let's do that real quick here before we end. The defining moment of my life for when I realized I was going to become a writer.
Okay.
It was in 6th grade. It was the first time we were being released into the library, the school library, so not a lot of choices in a junior high school library.
Right.
But we were allowed to do a book report on any book in the library. And this was like, we weren't being told what to do. This was a first. And this was like, wow. So again, and this also comes into, I can't write a story unless I know the title. Here's how I select a book. And I still do that to this day. I didn't do that for Hummingbird. My wife read Hummingbird and says, you should check this out, because I was going to try to write a romantic suspense. It turned into a sci-fi cloning thriller, so I really can't do romantic suspense. But so I read Hummingbird for that. But how I pick a book and I did this in 6th grade at the school library, and I still do this today, is I go and I read all the titles. And when a title catches my eye, I will pull the book out and inspect it further.
The title.
So I go off of title. Title for me is everything.
Oh.
And so I went and because all the books are sideways, titles are sideways, so I'm going through and I see a title that says The Three Musketeers. And I go, I like the candy bar. So out it comes, and I can, to this day, this book affected me so much, I can still feel the rough cloth green with the silver faded embossing for the title. No picture on the cover, just silver embossed, The Three Musketeers, Alexandre Dumas.
And that was the beginning.
And I sat there, and this book was thick, and I opened it up, and the font is micro. And I'm like, okay, this is for a book report. But The Three Musketeers. And so I read the first chapter, and I'm like, this is an adventure. I love this kind of stuff. We haven't been allowed to read this for school.
Right.
And so I sit there and go, this is the book. I'm going to read this one. And while everybody else was fighting over the thinnest books they could find, the biggest fonts they could find, I walk up to check out The Three Musketeers from Alexandre Dumas. I didn't know, as I'm reading through this thing, and I'm loving every second of it, I'm reading constantly because I am under the gun for doing a book report on this thing. While all my friends have picked up books that are this thin, I've got The Three Musketeers. And I'm just like, and I'm reading as fast as I can, and I'm a slow reader. When I read a book, each sentence gets read 2 or 3 times.
Oh.
I don't know why. Something's wrong up here. But so it takes me, I can't speed read. I can't read fast. Every sentence I read 2 or 3 times, and then I move on. So I soak it in. But it takes me 3 times longer to read a book than it takes a normal person. And here is my looming deadline. And I don't know how enjoyable a story is read when you have to do something about it at a certain time. You can't just sit down and go, here, let's read this and have fun. So I have this looming deadline on me as I'm reading the thickest book probably in the entire 6th grade library. With the smallest fonts. But I finished that story, did my book report, got a B- on it, I think. Did okay. But I'm like, this story was awesome. And I said, I want to grow up and do this for other people. How this did for me, I want to do for other people. Yeah, sure, everybody could go out and read The Three Musketeers, but then when they're done with that, what else have they got? So that's when I realized I'm going to become an adventure author at some point in the future.
Oh, that's cool.
Here we are.
And here we are.
Here we are.
Very good.
All right, so that's it.
That's it.
Thank you so very much. So I will push stop streaming. So thank you everyone for coming, seeing the live Q&A where our wonderful, awesome, I can figure out which way to post.
Yeah, there I am.
Our host Sharon from I Smell Sheep did a live Q&A. None of these questions had I been sent in the future. So this was live. Anything could happen. And I hope I did admirably. I liked the whole concept of not getting the question. I refused getting the questions ahead of time. I said, just give them to me here so we can just have fun with it and surprise me.
Exactly.
All right. So I will. Thank you so very much, Sharon.
Thank you.
I will stop streaming in 3, 2, 1.
1.